Welcome to Repower Hour, a kind of weekly free resource to repower, come back into your innate power, remember who you are, recalibrate the aura, make sure that you are coming back to equilibrium at least one time a week. For those of you that were called to jump in today, I hope that you stay. Today's practice is going to be very easy and very gentle. And it's going to be focused on grief. And if you're saying, well, I didn't lose anybody, I'm not experiencing grief. Grief doesn't only happen in the body when you experience death. We are all carrying grief in one way or another. So we're going to speak to that. This is also a very special practice because tomorrow we will be sitting under the magic of a full moon in Libra. As we're allowing folks to tune in, I'll talk a little bit about the energy of the moment. We're dealing with a lot as a collective. Lots of grief, lots of fear. Mount Vernon in the house. Lots of grief and lots of fear. Lots of auras and energies that are uncared for because people are tired. And so this is not me judging or passing blame. This is just me acting as an observer. Lots of people are tired, too tired to take care of themselves in the ways that their mind, body, and spirit need. And so what tends to happen is that our auras start to bleed together. And if you don't know what an aura is, we have an electromagnetic field, an invisible field all over our body. Okay, that both acts as an energetic protection against the energies of others and also our energetic projection. And so when you set intentions, right, which is something that I think many people do, especially if they watch me and they tune into my channels and my teachings, we are focusing on embodying an intention, right? Something that we really want to experience in our life. But what happens, right? That energy is projected through our aura, even if we are not saying what the intention is, right? And so it goes out into out through our aura, almost like a magnet, searching for the other magnet throughout the world, throughout time, space, and dimension, throughout the universe. Acting as sort of like a little boomerang, collecting that thing, that experience that we want to experience and bringing it back to us. However, when our auras and our energy goes uncared for, when we go uncared for, when we lose equilibrium and we don't make the time to bring ourselves back to repower, the aura gets cloudy. The aura is, again, a magnet. So it is attracting and like enmeshing itself with other energies if it is weak. And so even us right now, we are here virtually. We are here virtually because I'm recording for YouTube as well. But if I don't properly protect myself, like I'm wearing this little protection jewelry, but that ain't doing much, right? I have to set intentions. I have to make sure that I ground. I have to make sure that I nourish myself before I hold space. Because if not, I'm enmeshing with all of you who are watching me right now. And so this happens when we engage with others. It happens when we walk down the street. It happens online as we're scrolling, as we're deeply engaging with content and art that we're watching on a daily basis, that we're listening to. It is inevitable. Energy is like bacteria. Some of it is good, some of it is bad, and all of it is going to stick to you. And so it's really important that we are strengthening our auras. And there's a whole course that I taught about this last year called Energy Alchemists, that was really focused on helping highly sensitive people become stronger. And the way that we do that is by strengthening the aura. And so when we are experiencing collective grief for many different reasons, and I will hold space for them in a second, and I will allow y'all who are tuning in here to type in the comments what type of grief maybe you're dealing with. And I honestly feel free to type in, what you want to leave here today, what you want to leave in the space on our collective virtual altar today, things that you are dealing with, things that you want to pray for, grief feelings that might be affecting you and weighing heavy on you in the form of grief. And I invite y'all on YouTube to do the same. When we are experiencing collective grief and we aren't taking care of ourselves, that grief becomes enmeshed in those feelings. And really, when we look at the root of grief, grief is rooted in fear. Grief is rooted in fear. Grief is also rooted in love. Okay, and when we do not care for ourselves, that love sort of gets lost in the fear. When we root our grief, the love becomes alive, and we are able to use that grief as a catalyst, use that grief as a beautiful, what's the word that I'm searching for? It's almost like helps us navigate, gives us clarity. There's so much magic and medicine in grief, and I would know because I have experienced really, really deep grief in my life, losing a sibling, my only sibling. And so I've had to learn through all of these stages. They say the 12 stages of grief, right? There's so many more. There's so many more, and it is endless. And so you have to stay committed to working with it, or it will work against you. And so as we are experiencing collective grief for the current administration that is doing everything in its power to help us, not to help us, to make us forget that we have power as a people. For the current administration, whose sole responsibility is to help us as a society, actively doing everything to extinguish us. For the freak accidents that we've been witnessing happen all over the world, from the helicopter that dropped into the Hudson River yesterday, sirens, because we're in New York City, but also feeling like emphasis. The helicopter accident in the Hudson River yesterday, the hundreds that lost their lives in the Dominican Republic, ongoing genocides, famine, poverty, abuse of all kinds happening all over the world every second of the day. People losing their lives to illness. People losing their lives to suicide. All those that are crossing over. And also I want to hold space for those of us, and I say us as a collective, who are experiencing life-ending thoughts, active grief. I want to hold space for all of this and all that everybody has typed in the chat that they're experiencing grief for. Tomorrow's full moon in Libra, Libra being this Venus-ruled sign of beauty and relationships and money, the full moon being one about releasing, is opposing the sun in Aries. So the sun is in Aries, we're in Aries season, right? It's supposed to be this very activating sun. Active, the beginning, initiating. And it's in conjunction, it's in cahoots with Chiron, the wounded healer. Okay, Chiron sort of points to the parts of our lives that where we experience the most pain and where there is a message for us, where there is mega healing for us. Chiron is a mirror. And so if we're experiencing, feels like we're experiencing even more grief than normal lately, that could probably be why. And at this time right now, we're really, really poised to work with really deep-seated wounds for our own clarity. This is a time to really work with and really understand, and not only work with and understand, I want you to just see. Really dedicate yourself to seeing and perceiving with clarity, even if it hurts. The wounds that are coming up for you. I saw somebody in the comments here on Instagram talk about past traumas that are coming up. That is on purpose. And that could be the source of the most grief. Because there's weight that we have to deal with in our own personal experience. And so at this time, even if and especially if it hurts, We have to be really honest and compassionate with ourselves. And I do want to mention, if you're watching this anywhere, the replay, I talk all about this in my April energy reading, which is on YouTube. I give a breakdown of the energy of April, and then we do a collective card reading for the specifics that we need to know about this month and what we have to work with. I'm just mentioning a little bit here so that when we get into our practice in a second, we know what it is that we're working with in order to release it. And also we know what it is that we're working with so that we can see without judgment and with total compassion for ourselves. We are dealing with a lot. You are dealing with a lot. And I want to remind you that you were built to, that your soul signed up for this. That as many times in a day as we're like, what the fuck? What is happening? What's coming my way? What has just fallen into my lap? What is happening in the world? When it feels like we literally cannot catch a breath. When our nervous system is like the fire festival of nervous systems. When it feels like we cannot catch a break. We remember that we have power as to how we experience these moments. And that when we are mentally, physically, and spiritually resourced, when we are nourishing ourselves in the ways that our whole system needs, we are able to sustain these changes and this whiplash a lot easier. And so this is my gift to you, these very short but potent moments of recalibration. Because it is my hope that you will adopt some of these practices. At this point, this is our 6th Repower Hour. This is our 6th Repower Hour. Okay, if we're talking about 60 minutes, that's 360 minutes of recalibration practices that I've offered you for free. So please take this and use it, inject it into your practice. Have a daily practice. It doesn't have to be long and elaborate. It doesn't have to be an hour long. I'm giving you an hour of my time so we can chat and talk about the energy and move stuff together and so I can teach you something. But please have a daily practice. Resource yourself on a daily so that you may be able to sustain the shifts, so that you don't drown in the waves. Somebody said, thank you for offering these. It's my pleasure. And honestly, I show up when I can. The last 3 weeks, I have not been able to show up. I've been dealing with my own stuff. I'm honestly sick right now. I'm under the weather. And everything about my life said, you need to not do this today. But my spirit was louder. And so I'm here obeying Spirit's call to hold this session today. Let's get into practice. Okay, let's get into practice. It's going to be pretty simple, but I do want to demonstrate the 2 practices that we're going to be doing today. One is 4 minutes long, it's not crazy, and the other one is going to be 7 minutes long, and that's equating to an 11-minute practice. I think 11-minute practices are a great place to start. Great place to start if you don't have a practice right now. And being a certified Kundalini yoga teacher, that is what I'm going to be teaching you today. I'm going to be teaching you some very easy but very potent Kundalini yoga pranayama breathwork exercises that are really going to help us push through the grief and really reawaken the aura, kind of like dust it off of all the remnants of like crap that's in the aura, in our electromagnetic field, so that we may experience life again in its pureness and its beauty, so that we may be able to perceive the blessings, the messages in our mess, and also extract the mess from our messages. This first kriya, meditation, and kriya is a collection of movements, postures, breath work, mantra that work for a specific goal. Okay, this is what Kundalini yoga is made up of. Kundalini yoga is a very spiritual form of yoga, a very soulful form of yoga. It is a yoga of awareness, and this is why I love it so much. I have a video all on YouTube about how it's changed my life as somebody who has experienced chronic depression and anxiety for most of her life into feeling free again without having to have like Western intervention. I have never taken medication. I've had the opportunity to, and I probably should have a lot of times in my life, but I've made the conscious choice not to for several personal reasons. And I would say that Kundalini Yoga, discovering the needs of my mind, body, and spirit has really, really changed my life. Okay, not making any medical claims here, just sharing with you my experience. Okay, and so this first pranayama breathwork kriya is for overcoming grief. It is said that when it was a time of villages living by the rivers, they would all commune by like a waist deep part of the river to all mourn and grieve together. And so this movement, this asana, sort of mimics what would be done there. Okay, so we're cupping our hands. I'm going to tune us in a second, but I want to show you the asana. We are cupping our hands. We are inhaling through the nose. And then we're exhaling, and we're kind of like throwing the water, the river water of grief. So I want you to imagine that you're cupping at your heart center, or better, at your solar plexus center. Solar plexus being your space of self-confidence, your space of will, your space of self-esteem, and also your heart space. You know what your heart space is. But right behind the heart is the lungs, where we hold on to grief. Okay, I want you to imagine that you're scooping all that up and you're pouring it over your aura. Any movement that you do with your hands activates your heart center, because the arms and the hands are an extension of the heart energy. Okay, and any movement that we do through the aura is cleansing the aura. Okay, our aura extends up to 10 feet out from our physical body. So anything that we're doing through the aura is cleansing the aura. Okay, let us tune in. I'm sitting down, legs crossed. If you're home and you can do that with me, amazing. If you're at the office, if you're anywhere that you can do that, sitting in a chair is just fine. Standing is just fine. I would probably sit on a chair though. Okay, rub our hands together. Just telling the body our 72,000 energy highways that end in the hands and feet, that we're ready to meditate. Pressing the hands together into prayer position, letting your thumbs touch your sternum, the middle of your breastbone. Inhaling deeply, expanding the belly with air. Exhaling deeply. Inhaling deeply again. Exhale deeply, mouth open. Just release anything that you came here with. I'm going to tune us in, and if you know the chant, you can chant along with the Adi Mantra and the Mangala Charan. This is going to really connect us to our benevolent guides, to our spirit self, calling them forward, calling on their wisdom, calling on their protection throughout space, time, and dimension. Let's inhale to begin. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Inhale deeply. Suspend your breath, let it hang. Exhale deeply. Now for the necklace of protection, I want you to either chant along with me or just picture your aura becoming bright, bright, bright with protection. Inhale to begin. Adgurei Name, Jugadgurei Name, Satgurei Name, Siddhi Gurudevei Name. Adgurei Name, Jugadgurei Name, Satgurei Name, Siddhi Gurudevei Name. Adgurei Name, Jugadgurei Name, Satgurei Name, Siddhi Gurudevei Name. Inhale deeply. Hold and suspend your breath. Exhale deeply. All right. I'm called to mention this, but if you ever wanted to know what those chants mean, what those mantras mean, and even learn how to chant along, I do have a video on YouTube as well. If you go to my website and you go to the blog section and you go to the Kundalini Yoga blog section, there's a growing library of videos there. One of them is like what to know before you take a Kundalini Yoga class. It's all about what the practice is and also clearly instructs the opening and closing mantras, which I find really important to like consecrate the space. Okay, so let's get into this kriya, movement for overcoming grief. Again, this is going to be a 4-minute practice. Good morning. 4-minute practice where we are basically putting our hands in a cup, pressing them together, inhaling deeply as it's cupping them, cupping the grief, the sorrow, any like feelings that feel negative, right? And I put this in air quotes because really all emotions are neutral energy emotion. We give it the connotation. We give it the connotation through our perspective. Okay, and so through this motion, you're getting to pour it over you and sort of cleanse the aura, almost like you're scooping water. Okay, water being so important in this kriya. Water being connected to our sacral chakra, our womb chakra, our space of emotion. Okay, so I'm gonna put some music on. And the music that I'm specifically putting on is chanting the mantra Akal. Akal is a beautiful mantra to use when in grief because Akal translates to the undying. We may pass on, people may pass on in physical form, but their spirit is undying. So Akal. I'm gonna set a timer for us, 4 minutes. And let's begin. Closing your eyes, really breathing in through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. And go at your own pace, the pace that feels best for you. If you start to feel pain, respect the pain. If it's mental pain, push through it. Push past it. Push past the mental pain, honor the physical pain. Okay, if you start to feel uncomfortable in your arms, that is energy that is passing through your arms. Again, the arms and the hands are an extension of the heart chakra. Really get the hands behind you as you are breathing. Keep it going at your own pace. Try to keep your spine as straight as possible. Neck is long. We're not contracting the neck at all at any point. Two minutes. Less than 1 minute. Inhale deeply. Wherever you are, cupping your hands, inhaling deeply, holding and suspending your breath. Exhale deeply through the mouth. One more time. Inhale deeply. Hold and suspend your breath. Squeeze your anus, your sexual organs, and your navel. If you're not on your period and you're not pregnant, please do this. Squeezing the energy, pulling the energy up from the base of your spine, up through all of your chakras, out through the top of your head. Holding, 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 and squeezing. Exhale deeply. You can release the mudra. Okay. The next and last part of our practice is also going to be for grief, but it's more so going to be for recalibrating the aura, pulling in the energy that we do want, okay? This is called the 3-stroke breath for health, energy, and radiance, okay? And in those 3 strokes that we're going to do, I want you to focus on health, energy, and radiance. When we talk about radiance, this is like radiance of your aura, radiance of your field. When you shine bright, you are an easy magnet for all the beauty and the pleasure that life has to offer you. Okay, and what it looks like is this. You're going to be keeping your hands clasped like this. Not squeezing just yet. Not squeezing just yet. Okay, keeping your hands clasped. And you're going to be inhaling 3 strokes through the mouth. And as you do that, you're also squeezing your clasped hands. Okay, so it's a 3-stroke breath. And every time you breathe in, you're holding that breath in and you're squeezing your hands a little bit as you do that. So 1, 2, 3, holding it, and then exhaling through one breath through the nose. Relaxing the hands in the clasp. Okay, so what it looks like is this. So we're going to be doing this for 7 minutes. Again, this is completing an 11-minute practice. 11 being one of the most highly spiritual numbers if we're talking about numerology. 1 being the number of beginning, 1 being the number of intention. And that's kind of like why you see 1111 on the time. What is this hair doing? Can we please get in here, please? Thank you. But yeah, 1 and 11 being this number of beginning, this number of intention. So I love an 11-minute practice. I also love an 11-day practice. So if you are down for an 11-day sadhana with me, let me know in the comments and I can definitely put that together for us with a specific intention. Okay, so what it's going to look like is this. So every time you sip in air through your mouth, you're going to be filling your belly with air a little bit more. Okay, expanding the navel every time you breathe in. We're seeing some yes please for the 11-day sadhana. Okay, let's do that. Let's get it together. Okay, let's get this going. 7-minute practice. And we're going to add some more akal. Music for akal. I'm going to set our timer. And please get in position, hands clasped. And let's begin. When you exhale, make sure that you exhale everything out of your belly, bringing the navel back towards the spine. And as you're breathing in, remember that we're doing this for health, energy, radiance. So mentally chanting that and then exhaling through the nose. Eyes should be closed. And really see if you can get the exhale to be longer than your inhale, to really shift shift into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight. That is the flight mode, okay? This is helping your nervous system relax and recalibrate. So making the exhale longer than the inhales. We are more than halfway through, really giving these breaths and these giving this intention. Health, energy, radiance. 30 seconds. Really give it your all here. Health, energy, radiance. Let's take one deep inhale through the mouth. Hold, squeeze your anus, your sexual organs, your navel. Squeeze, pulling that energy up through your spine, up through all of your energy centers, up past your head, through the top of your head. Exhale deeply. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale deeply. Hold and squeeze. Gazing through your third eye, the space between your brow bone, holding and squeezing, pulling that energy up. Making your aura radiant. Exhale deeply. One last time. Inhale deeply. Hold and squeeze. Excuse me. Exhale deeply. Release your mudra. Just place your hands on your knees. I'm going to reconnect my microphone, lead us through our closing meditation moment. Hands on your knees. Eyes closed. Gazing with your eyes closed through your third eye point, through the middle of your brow bone, right between your eyebrows. Maybe you're feeling some physical sensations, a little tingling, some whooshing movement through your body. Let's hold some gratitude for the ways that our body is recalibrating, for the gift of breath that we've been able to give ourselves. Our breath, which carries prana, chi, life force energy, the animating force that gives us life. Because if there's any way that we can combat grief, it is through breath. If there's any way that we can combat the physical organ that holds grief in our body, our lungs, it is through intentional breath. So I invite you to be really gentle with yourself today, really compassionate with yourself, because when you're compassionate and gentle with yourself, you can be compassionate and gentle with the world. You not only hold love in your heart, but you emit love through your aura, through your field. And imagine a world where we are all able to be clear, to not only hold love in our hearts, but emit love through our field. Not carry or emit the natural fear that we feel as human beings, but love, understanding, compassion, even and especially when it hurts. I invite you to carry these reminders with you through the weekend into next week as we experience this full moon in Libra. This lunar recalibration that is going to pull and nip and tug at our wounds. Not because the universe hates us, but because it loves us so much that it is going to position us to see how our personal wounds keep us, our unhealed and undealt with and unwitnessed personal wounds, keep us from pleasure and beauty. How our relationship with our personal wounds, when they go uncared for and when they don't have attention, start to infect all areas of our life, especially the areas that have to do with Libra: love, pleasure, relationships, money. That when we are in communion with ourselves, when we are in communion with ourselves, when we understand and hold nuance, we're able to be the observer and not the absorber. We're able to show up in truth and in love and in compassion, not just for ourselves, but for everyone in existence. And that doesn't mean giving people the pass. It just means understanding that people are going to do the best that they want to. People are going to do the best that they know. And just because somebody doesn't know love like you know love, doesn't mean that we have to become loveless in response to their actions. I invite you to carry these universal truths with you, that they may offer you respite in times of internal chaos, that you may remember who you are, that you may remember that you are love in human form, and that your mind, your body, and your spirit need love too. Love in the form of breath, love in the form of nourishment, love in the form of movement, love in the form of prayer, meditation, and intention, love in the form of community. And in order to commune with others, we have to be able to commune with ourselves first. And so really keeping our eyes open for the ways that our wounds will be teaching us this weekend. For the ways that everything around us is going to act as a mirror for what we need to be paying attention to the most. And so I hope that you carry this with you as all of these sirens are blaring behind me. That you carry these reminders with you so that you may have clear perspective. Clear perspective about what this moment is for. This post-eclipse full moon, Venus going direct after having been retrograde, all these moments of deep and uncomfortable overall recalibration that we've had in the last couple of months, that we get to start fresh, that we get some final reminders about how we need to shift our perspective so that we may be able to more easily show up in our truth and our love in the world. Because when we do that, all the pleasure and all the abundance and all the love and the light that is ours can reach us. And we may be able to pour that back into the world, into a world that needs it more than ever. Let's rub our hands together to close our practice. Hands in prayer position, and we're going to close our practice chanting Sat Nam. Sat Nam, meaning truth is my name, truth is my identity. And it is facts, so true for us. Okay, we're going to be chanting a long Sat, short Nam, 3 times. Inhaling to begin. Sat Nam. Satnam. 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 Thank you for being here today. Thank you for showing up for yourself. I invite you to revisit this practice whenever you need to. If you're watching the replay on Instagram, I remind you that it is also going to be on YouTube for you to watch. I have a Repower Hour playlist there that you can easily save so that you can come back to it whenever you need to, are ready. You don't always have to do these live, but I do appreciate those of you who show up live for these sessions. If you wanted to donate or tip, because these are free, I'm going to leave my links and tags and things for Venmo and Cash App and all that in the description box of the YouTube video and also in the caption on Instagram. You can also, thank you so much, Sadi G, for buying a badge. I appreciate you guys so much for anything you can offer in return for my time. I will mention here that if you wanted to offer something, some coins, throw some coins my way. I really appreciate it. There's a link in my bio that says buy me a coffee or buy me a latte, something like that. Super appreciated. Thank you for your gratitude in the chat. Throwing grief away was powerful, super powerful. Yeah, so these practices are easily accessible to you. Again, the names are, and you can easily Google these. But the names of the meditations that we did today are Movement for Overcoming Grief and the 3-Stroke Breath for Health, Energy, and Radiance. And I'll leave the names of those in the caption as well. But they are easily accessible, can be done anytime. And if you wanted to do them in the traditional, powerful, proper way with the opening chants and closing chants, those are available on my YouTube channel as well. I love you all dearly. I will see you here. When's the next Repower Hour, Belle? When's the next Repower Hour? It is going to be April 18th, and Ava's going to be joining me for that one again. So we'll see what we cook up. Friday, April 18th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Ava's on spring break, so she's been dying to meet y'all again for another Repower Hour, so we will see you on April 18th. I wish you all the gentility, all the compassion. Again, I invite you to check out the April energy reading on my channel. I'm going to post it on my stories again so that you can become more informed about the energy of this weekend, being that we're experiencing this full moon, and it's going to be really, really potent and possibly really uncomfortable, but there is so much alchemy for us to work with, so much for us to work with, and we really got to pay attention so we don't get got this weekend. Okay, thank y'all so much for those of you who are buying badges, who showed up today. Thank you for showing up for yourself, and I invite you to continue to really process the grief that shows up this weekend and beyond. Thank you for everybody who tuned in on YouTube. Again, we are joining here on April 18th, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, but these can be done at any time of day. Check out more of my stuff on my website at melaniesantos.co. But I will see you soon.